All right, take two. Technology wasn't cooperating. So I had a great conversation today about why. And the why is something sometimes we forget. Why am I in business? Why am I doing the business I am now? I'm doing it because of several things. Here's the story. So when I was about 14, 15, I got involved in ministry. Had this passion to confront my fears and begin to share the gospel with people, and believe that I had to make a choice to be obedient to that or not. And so I did that. I started to write, I started to speak. By the end of high school, I've spoken to 300 plus people in some settings, and smaller settings too. Fast forward, I have a passion to help in the places where it is needed the most. So where is that? Well, it's places like church revitalization, which I found a niche in. Churches that are on the verge of closing their doors. They have a lot of issues. Whether it's financial, don't have a plan, or there's ministry, or there's disagreements within. There is a big need, and there is a gospel legacy on the line in that place. And that became a work for 5 years. I consulted and I did work in, and I learned a lot of stuff that helped me to continue to bolster that desire to help people. The last couple of years in reinventing, pivoting because of overwork, pivoting because of doing too much, pivoting because of having done just too much and having to then do some burnout and sabbatical process to rebuild and to learn to do things in a healthier way. Because in ministry, what happens is you tend to be giving. You want to help people. And if you don't have a proper mechanism, you're not applying the Gospel of John 4, 5, and 6, which I just talked about with somebody today. John chapter 4, Jesus is confronting, offering a new life, but also confronting where a woman was, her past, the woman at the well, and offering her a new life, not lying, telling the truth, and calling her to a new life as a result of repentance. You've got John chapter 5, a man who is going to be healed. He's lying by a pool. And Jesus asks him a very deep question. Do you want to get well? Do the people you're ministering to want? Is there some type of desire, wanting to come to Christ, wanting to grow in their walk with the Lord, wanting to heal after going through a divorce, whatever you name it? What about John chapter 6, when Jesus thins the crowd, so to speak, because he really clarifies what the demands of discipleship are, and the huge crowd becomes a smaller group of real dedicated followers. He thins it by calling out what this really means to follow him. You know, what I did the last couple of years is I pivoted from church revitalization, serving a wonderful church for 3 years, which was just such a blessing. Pivoted, got married, and looked to do something else with my professional life rather than the day in and day out of pastoral local church ministry. And I got into a couple of things. I taught, I did some financial services, and I ended up at a company that made me an offer. That was a Christian company after interviewing with several of the major big financial services companies out there. And I made a couple of decisions. One, I just didn't like the salesy approach. I didn't like that you were managing everything for everybody, like trying to become the insurance and investment person. I didn't want to be that guy. But on a deeper issue, I was working for a company that professed Christianity, and yet it claimed to be neutral and pro-life, but was really anti-pro-life because it would not allow any support for it. It was a company that claimed to be Christian and advertised it and all that type of thing. It was all in their marketing and all in how they presented themselves. And yet they had a whole DEI division, and they had a whole LGBTQ plus endorsing and support division within the company and with their finances. And how could I have integrity? In addition, that company wanted complete control over pre-approving everything I would post, everything I would say. If I say something that is not in line with their social stances, because I have beliefs that I need to submit to the Bible in order to be faithful to the Lord, if I don't do that, then I was in potential violation. So I made the choice. I can't stay in an environment like this. I'm not going to have integrity in myself. So what is the exciting part? What is the why? The merging of being young in ministry and desiring to engage in conversational evangelism and conversational discipleship. People need a safe space to think, and then a safe space to actually take action. I saw that in revitalization. I saw that from a young man when I began to work in a Boy Scout-like ministry of Royal Rangers, to work with my peers of young men, and then led in that when I was in college as well, helping mentor young men. It's about developing and about giving the appropriate challenges and helping them grow as individuals, and that's what I'm passionate about today. I do the financial coaching piece, which is something I learned a lot about from Dave Ramsey. Got actual training with his organization. My dad was a big factor in instilling those things in me from a young age of biblical principles in that regard. The professional experience I've gotten through management and work experiences of conversing with people in many different settings, being a minister in the marketplace, which is where I believe the world is going, and the professionalization of the ministry is fast changing, and very well may change quite a bit in our lifetime as churches may be smaller. There's predictions people are making, and we'll see what trends hold true. But I do think there is historically this truth about the fact that many effective Christian witnesses and effective Christian ministers have been supported some other way. So what I'm excited about now is merging that experience and that passion for working with men and working with ministers and working with business people, because there's a lot of similarity as I keep talking to people, and over the years, this is not a new thing, there's a lot of similarity between business and ministry. And I don't mean that in a sleazy type of way. I mean, if you're really doing business the right way, it's about serving people. Think about businesses that do it well. Chick-fil-A, Hobby Lobby, I'm sure you can name some others that knock out of the ballpark. When I was a handyman doing service work of staining decks and power washing homes and doing yard work for people and odd jobs, I was serving clients, and I built that business to the point I was able to live on it and serve people. That's really what business is about, and it's also about what ministry is about. But for both entrepreneurs and for business people as well as ministers, there is this tendency that we're wearing all the hats, we're not providing margin. As a man brilliantly said it that I spoke with today, the real question we need to be asking ourselves is, what rock do we need to take out of our pile? We don't often do that. We just add another one, and another one, and another one, and another one, and another one. And next thing you know, we're overwhelmed and on the edge of burnout. Very common for entrepreneurs and ministers. So this is the passion. I've been fleshing out what that looks like. Some of you have been so kind as to sign up for the Substack with your email, and you're getting updates of articles, or you're even a paid supporter getting actual content, the premium content of stuff I'm pulling out of the vault, and things, Lord willing, I'll create down the line as well that are only released in that setting, and pre-released as well in that setting as other products and stuff are developed. For those of you that are engaging in the coaching and the coaching group, again, what is coaching about? It's about helping people, sitting across the table and having actionable conversations. A conversation that actually has a point. It's not just shooting the breeze. We're working on something. We're solutions oriented. We're taking action. We're making a difference. That's what I did in church revitalization. That is what the work was. How can we make a shift so that our older folks in the church are reinvigorated and passionate again about making disciples of the next generation? There is a generation out there longing to be mentored. If we tap that and we begin to do ministry that way, which is biblical, multi-generational, the older serving the younger, and that might even be someone younger that's more mature in a case of serving someone older, but reinvigorate conversational discipleship, conversational evangelism, and being intentional. And it keeps us fueled when we're living that way and we're making a difference in somebody else's life. It's the same thing in business. When I would look at my client list on the handyman business, and I would look at what was the highest producing revenue items and what were the lowest ones, and what about my service area? When I started out, I was kind of going everywhere. And over the years, I tightened that up. And I got much more specific, and I began to be more pointed with my prices, and even raise some of those prices, and began to serve more effectively as I found the areas that I was really good at and the areas I enjoyed more, so I could serve people best. So excited about this. If you know someone who fits that type of category, a guy that doesn't have a lot of margin, is carrying too many things, needs actionable support, and is somebody that is willing to engage in a mentorship, coaching relationship. It's not just me going to give you advice. We're going to talk and know about your situation particularly. I'm going to do everything I can to serve you. And guess what? The best part is I'm not doing the sleazy sales stuff. We hop on the phone and we have the first conversation right out of the bat, completely free, and I jump right into serving you and coaching. If it's not valuable and it's not what you want to do, hey, there's no problem. Even with a lot of the clients that I'm taking on, there is an out. Like right now, the thing that I'm doing, can't say later on when you do this if it's going to be the same way I'm doing it, but in this phase of the business, I'm doing a 90-day type of thing. If you come on as a client, let's do a 90-day preliminary period where then we reevaluate. Is this still making sense for you? Is it adding value? If not, no harm, no foul. We both can part ways. But if I'm going to be able to serve this person from day one, great. Now let's find a way we can work together. Yes, there's a financial component to that, but my desire is to find the guys that I can help. And I'm getting very specific on the type of people and the types of work I want to be doing. I'm open at this stage of the business to a whole lot of things, and you got to be able to pivot. You got to be able to pivot. I can be doing some workshops, I'm doing webinars, I'm doing group coaching, have different methods of writing and little videos and stuff too. There's different stuff, and I enjoy that. I'm in a testing phase of some of those different types. But the whole point and passion is about helping people to make real, lasting change for their good and for the benefit of the kingdom, whether they're in business or ministry. So, if you know somebody like that, friends, I really would appreciate it if you would introduce me. I'd love to have a conversation with them. If I can serve them, it would be my privilege. Or if we know each other and it's time to reconnect, and if I can serve you, I'd love to catch up and would love to help you. God bless.